to Unsightly Opinions. My name's Tamara. Today I want to share with you some of my biggest injuries, some of my worst foibles, some of my funniest mistakes that have all happened because I'm a blind person. Fair warning, before we get into this video, I will talk about some trigger warning stuff like blood and cuts and bumps and bruises, so if that's not something you can handle, you can just pop back in next week. I'm hoping sharing this video gives a more balanced view of what life is really like, because I'm not perfect. I make mistakes constantly, and I don't want to only portray myself as some perfect paragon of independence or wizard of accessibility. Because we all make mistakes, and I'm hoping that this can normalize the experience, and if you're somebody who's blind or low vision and feeling self-conscious about mistakes you make, no, you're not the only one. But before we dive in, I do want to take one moment and thank you all for your incredible support, because we did just pass 600 subscribers. If you would like me to do something special to commemorate that, I'm happy to do so, or let me know if you want me to wait until 750 or the big 1,000 to do something really huge. This channel would not be possible without all of you. It would not be possible without your support, your really respectful discussion in the comments. It makes a huge difference, and it really motivates me to keep going. So thank you all. Let's dive in with some really common things that happen. You've probably heard me talk about a few of these before, like talking to somebody who happens to be on the phone and isn't talking to me at all, or they're talking to somebody else and I think they're talking to me, so I respond to them. That's normal blind person stuff. That happens to just about everyone. But there's one thing that I think a lot of people who are blind or low vision have done that still makes me embarrassed every time it happens. Probably once a week when I'm out in public, and thankfully this hasn't happened much in the last year because social distancing, but at least once a week when I'm out and about, I will sit on someone. Guide dogs are great, but when you tell them to find a chair, sometimes they find you a chair that someone's already sitting in. Or if you're working your way along with your cane, you won't feel someone's feet, but you'll find the chair. It's happened to me on many occasions that I have sat right on top of somebody that's already sitting in that seat. Most people are typically pretty good-natured, but it makes my skin crawl. It always embarrasses me when I sit on somebody and I didn't know that they were there. I think most people have done something like that at some point in their life, sighted or not, bumped into somebody or said something to somebody that isn't there. But let's get into some more particulars for me specifically. Sports have never been something that I've naturally gravitated or fallen into gracefully. I would say I'm a sporty person, I would say I'm an active person, but every time I try and do something that's physical, I usually end up hurting myself or embarrassing myself, or both. One of my best skiing incidents was when I got caught in a bunch of trees underneath the chairlift, and my dad had to come dig me out. When I was learning how to ski, we hadn't really figured out the best way to communicate between my dad, who was the guide, and me, so we'd use all kinds of different techniques. I'd run into all kinds of different things on the slope. That's not what this is about. I've twisted ankles, I've broken ribs. That's all normal. That's par for the course, and I think you have one bad fall, you'll injure yourself. Doesn't matter whether you're sighted or not. But I don't think many people will ski right underneath a tree and get stuck. Nor will most people do that right underneath the chairlift. I don't think anybody going up the chair knew that I was blind, but they all started cheering when they saw I was stuck in this giant rim of bushes. I didn't know that the trees were there. I didn't make the turn in time, so I got stuck in trees. And I was stuck there for a good 10-15 minutes because the tip of my ski had gone underneath a tree root. And I could not get myself out. I couldn't get out of my ski. I was completely tangled. Relatively unhurt, a few bumps and bruises, but I could not get myself out. And people were peeing themselves laughing on the chairlift because I was stuck. Even though it was mortifying in the moment, I think it's a really funny anecdote now. Moving on to soccer now. In the 3rd grade, we had a substitute teacher. I always had a modified gym program for obvious reasons. Floor hockey was not going to be the best for somebody who couldn't see the puck or the other students. I couldn't typically see enough to track things at any form of distance or interpret what was happening with any speed. So I didn't play volleyball, I didn't play soccer, I didn't do floor hockey. I do modified versions of those sports so that I could participate, but I wouldn't hurt myself. Substitute teachers in elementary school never really understood why I couldn't do certain things. They just assumed that I was being bratty or that I didn't want to, so I'd be forced into doing sports that were probably not the best decision. And I got sent home more than once because a substitute teacher made me play a sport that I probably shouldn't have been playing. The first example would be volleyball. Might be obvious to just about everyone watching why volleyball is not a great option for somebody who can't see. We didn't have jingle balls. We didn't have any modified sports equipment. I couldn't get close to the net, so we were just volleying back and forth over the net. I couldn't see things coming towards my face. Bright white gym, bright white volleyball, there was not a chance in the world. So what did I do? I stood there with my hands over my head waiting for the ball to come my way, and instead of hitting my hands with the ball, because the other student didn't have any kind of aim, why would they? They're still learning themselves. It hit me square in the nose and I broke my nose. I think the substitute teacher learned pretty quick why I didn't play volleyball after that. I was bleeding everywhere, all over the floor, puddles of blood. I was getting dizzy. Other students were passing out because I was bleeding so much, and I had to be sent home. I can't remember specifically, but I can't imagine my parents were entirely pleased when they found out why I had a broken nose and why I was sent home from school. Not 3 weeks later, we were playing soccer. Different substitute teacher this time. I was made to play outdoor soccer. Your girl's outdoor vision has never been good. I couldn't tell where the ball was, so usually I'd just run around and follow the people. It had recently been raining, so it was quite slippery out on the grass, and I was a fair ways back from where the ball was. I didn't know where the ball was, and a kid went to do a drop kick. For those of you who don't know, that's where you stand on the sidelines, you drop the ball towards your foot, and then you kick it, and it creates an arc through the air. I think you probably know where this is going. Tamara didn't know the ball was coming straight for her face. It hit me square in the face. Again, nose, broken again, broke my sunglasses, and if that wasn't enough insult to injury, I got a muddy shoe in the face shortly after. All I can say is I'm glad we weren't wearing cleats. On the first day of 5th grade, my mom left me at the front of the school. We all had to line up at the specific doors around the school per our grade range, so I knew I had to line up at the back. My mom went in through the front door to meet me inside, and I was going to run around to the back. But the first buzzer went off, so I knew I had to go really quickly. So I ran, and I ran face first into a pole. Cut my forehead open. Thankfully, I missed my nose this time. Cut my forehead open and had blood dripping down my face. But I was late and I wasn't going to be the last one inside, so I kept running. And I tripped because there was a big crack in the sidewalk that I didn't see. Ripped both my pants, skinned both my knees, cut up my hands, couldn't stop, just had to keep going. So I got up and I kept running around the school, and there was a hill, but I knew there was stairs, so I was trying to aim for the stairs, fell down the stairs, and then continued making my way down to the back of the school, and finally made it inside by the second buzzer. By the time my mom saw me, and I kid you not, she left me 2 minutes previously, it looked like I'd been in some kind of fight. I was bloody, I was scraped up, my clothing was wrecked, my mom had to take me home. That incident should have probably cued everybody in that it was about time that little Tamara started using a white cane full time, but I was stubborn and didn't want to. Moving forward in time, I had quite an injury caused by a jam jar. You wouldn't assume a jar of jam to cause significant injury. You're probably thinking it smashed on the floor into a million pieces and I walked on glass. That is not what happened. As anyone who's blind or low vision will know, it's easy to knock things over, it's easy to bump things and knock it off a counter and have it land on your foot. But rare is the day when you break all 5 metatarsal bones, all of the little bones that stick out in your foot, all at once. I was in the fridge reaching to the back to try and pull something out, and I didn't realize that there was a big jar of jam sitting right at the front on the top shelf. So I reached in to grab my thing, and what happened was the jam jar came with the item I was pulling out, and it landed 6 feet from the top onto my foot. Let it be known, the jam jar was just fine. It was me that wasn't fine. I nearly passed out from the pain. My dad heard a noise from his office and came running, because normally when I hurt myself, you'll hear an ow or a sash, and he just heard a thump as I landed on the ground. And he came over and looked at me and said, "I think you broke your foot." And I said, "No, I didn't," because I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard. Who would break their foot by having a jar of jam land on it? So I proceeded to walk on it for 2 days because I was stubborn. In so much pain, I was in tears constantly, trying to go to my classes, and finally got it x-rayed 2 days later to discover that I had broken every single bone. In my pinky toe, I'd broken it in 2 places. My foot was black. It was swollen. It was mad because I didn't do what any normal, sane person would do and go get it checked out immediately or put it in an air cast. I walked on it because I didn't think I was as hurt as I was hurt. I hope you enjoyed some of these little anecdotes. It's just a few short stories, some of the highlights of some of my best and most cringy moments. Cited or not, I want to hear your best injury story in the comments down below. If you like content like this, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it around. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy. See you next time. Bye for now.